Welcome everyone to a new video of me and Mike, the Heal Your Gut guy. We have done some collaborations before. We did a video about acne, about eating liver together, and he shared his personal story on my YouTube channel as well. I will put the links to the videos in my description box down below. And today we're going to talk about another interesting topic, because most of you know that I switched from a vegan diet to a carnivore diet. And then afterwards, I started incorporating other kinds of food back into my diet and experienced problems. But we got an expert here on the gut and how to heal it and how to eat well and how to incorporate back carbs into your diet. So please, if you can introduce yourself to the people that don't know you yet.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike the Heal Your Gut guy. I have a YouTube channel on how to heal your gut, and I study a lot of ancestral nutrition, and carnivore and ancestral nutrition kind of run side by side. But our ancestors consumed carbs, and they enjoyed a huge variety of foods, not just meat or raw meat. But I myself was on like a low carb diet for years and years and years and years. And I said, why can my friends eat like shit? And why can they eat poorly and I can't? Every time I cheat just a little bit, I pay in spades, like acne, horrible gut pain. And so I did a little bit more digging, and now I eat carbs with every meal, and I help a lot of other people do this as well. And yeah, so we're gonna try to
Awesome.
demystify like what happens when you cheat on the carnivore diet, and why you're suffering from all sorts of symptoms and stuff, like kind of what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that, because I went from a high carb diet, basically a vegan diet. I switched to only eating animal products. I remember I didn't have any carbs or any processed foods, and I remember the change of my well-being was so drastic that I thought, this is it. Like, this is amazing. I feel so well. My gut feels great. My skin cleared up so like as it never had been before. I felt just good, and I thought everything is healed up. I'm just gonna eat some other stuff again, but I also ate processed foods. And then I saw some symptoms crawling back up again. It wasn't that intense yet. Then I cleaned up my diet again, and it went well. And after that, especially towards the holidays, I thought, whatever, I'm gonna eat cheesecake, I'm gonna eat this and that. I stayed away from chocolate and coffee, as I made a video about that before, that coffee and chocolate do have an effect on my skin and in my gut. I rushed to the toilet right away, so I've been very well with staying away from those. But then I thought I'm going to eat other kinds of things, pancakes as well, which are really delicious. And I saw my gut became really weird. I had a long time really tough pain on the right side of my stomach.
Okay.
Like my stomach hurt a lot, and it took a long time to heal. And after that, my acne started to come back really bad, like really bad. In my recent videos, you can see it. It's calming down at the moment, and I have my thoughts on why that is. But I started to break out so much, and I demonized all the carbohydrates that I put back. So also the dairy products, even I demonized, even though they were raw. I don't consume animal dairy, that is pasteurized. But I started to say, oh, all these things are bad. I'm going to only eat meat, and I eventually only started to eat raw meat, and it did wonders for my mental focus. My gut is really nice, but my acne kept being there. But I would like to definitely know more about your thoughts on this.
So first let's talk about some of the foods you might have been eating during the holidays. Like
so the pancakes, definitely. So I put in sometimes white flour, but other times I did coconut flour. So I try to avoid the gluten of it.
Okay, yeah, coconut
But
flour is
there,
pretty safe. Yeah.
okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I also make cookies out of it, but I also ordered processed foods like cheesecake
Okay.
that I ate, salted caramel cakes. What else did I eat? Um, Little sandwiches,
Okay.
like the oven baked sandwiches, which are made also from white flour.
Okay.
Bread I had. Not so much actually other types of grains. It was mostly the flour and bread
Did you do any
products.
nuts? Like nuts or anything like that?
Uh, no,
No nuts.
no,
Okay.
no
So it was
nuts,
mostly bread
but a lot. Yeah, and cheese,
and cheese.
and cheese too, and yeah, and yogurts too.
Okay.
And I had ice cream too.
Ice cream. All right.
Haagen-Dazs. Yeah.
Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Yeah, we can start talking from there. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's you kind of start to see flu season and the holidays. That's when you kind of start seeing people getting sick. And we have to think about math kind of like as a simple math equation. It's like the more nutrients we bring into our body, the healthier we are going to be, and the less energy and nutrients are, the less stress, like physical stress, we put on our body, like the better our body will perform. So if your body, like during the spring and the summer, your body doesn't have to waste tons of resources keeping your body warm. Like what's the biggest bill that you have to pay throughout the year, like utilities wise? Like heating. And
Mhm.
that applies to your body as well. That's why. And so your body is under stress from the cold, and then your body is under stress from all the shitty foods that we're eating. I mean, it starts off with Halloween, and then Thanksgiving. There's and then it goes to Christmas, and then it goes New Year's, and then it goes Valentine's Day, and then um, you know,
Easter we
oh
have
yeah,
too.
Easter, St. Patrick's
And we
Day,
also
much
have
better.
Sinterklaas.
Yeah, yeah.
So much.
So you're just like, it's like almost impossible like not to eat crappy foods. But so there's all this temptation out there. So I mean, you're going to cheat. I mean, it's just we're humans. And but kind of what I think is going on with Kasumi Crystal's gut is, and this is what goes on with my gut. We have to understand all these negative symptoms that are happening to us are all just a result of injury. If your gut hurts, we did something to injure it. If you bang your toe on the side of your dresser or something, you don't go, oh, I have toatitis. I think we're gonna have to like amputate it or pump it full of immunosuppressants. Like, no, just stop slamming it in to the side of your dresser. It's like really that simple. And our gut is that simple, but we just kind of have the blinders on because we can't see what's going on down below. It's a little bit more things you need to be aware of, and we have a lot of people telling us stupid stuff. Um, so there's really two. Well, with carnivore, there's only five things you can do to injure your gut. There's eating, there's digestive stress, and this is just putting your digestive system under too much stress. It's like going to the gym. If it's fine if you go to the gym and you do bicep curls. It's fine if you do that once or twice a week. But if you do that every single day, multiple times a week, your arm's gonna fall off after a certain point, and we're doing that to our guts. If you see portion sizes from the 1950s to now, I mean they're double if not triple. The second one is plant toxins, and plants are masters of chemical warfare. Think about coffee and mushrooms. Mushrooms aren't plants, I don't think, but marijuana. They all create very potent chemicals that can hurt us or do something to us. And plants don't want us eating their babies. And things like bread and other starches are their babies. And so what they do is they put toxins. So, for example, gluten is a toxin. And we have to learn how to deactivate those toxins because that's what our ancestors were doing. They would sourdough and cook these these toxins in a special way to deactivate them. The third is bad bacteria and fungi eating you alive from the inside out. And that's usually a big thing. You hear about Candida and E. coli and SIBO and stuff like that. Um, I've been doing tests at home with Candida and feeding it different foods. And when you feed it meat, it can grow when you feed it meat. It can live off of meat, but when you feed it bread, it goes crazy. So I'm trying to pinpoint which foods make candida grow and what you
Yeah.
have to do to protect those foods. I'm seeing how much honey and like essential oils you have to add to bread before candida can't grow on it. I'm doing experiments like that right now, and and
Fascinating.
yeah, and so for me, I'm telling you, I would eat like a handful of chips, like sprouted chips or white sourdough bread, a slice of white sourdough bread. I would be sick for like 2 or 3 days, like not fun at all, until I killed that infection. And so I think that's where your big thing is, and even raw dairy can feed that infection if the infection's really bad. So I kind of think
Yeah,
that's
because
where, yeah.
yeah, I remember that. I remember actually the moment that it started. There was probably a food that I ate that really injured my gut. Definitely, there
Mhm.
was because I was completely fine with my gut until I ate some fried chicken. I remember, and my gut exploded. I went to the toilet right away, and after
Mhm.
that, I couldn't tolerate all these other types of food, which I was tolerating before. Right after I went
Yeah.
vegan, I had raw dairy kefir. I had raw butter,
Yeah. Yeah.
eggs, like all these animal products without any problem. I could drink a whole bottle of a raw milk kefir without
Yeah.
any problem. Sometimes I would get a little bit sleepy, but no
Yeah. Yeah.
pains or troubles. And then after that moment that I ate that chicken, I couldn't tolerate even this the tiniest bit of cheese would make my stomach explode.
Wow.
So there was definitely something in that chicken or around that time that I ate that made a damage, which made a lot of pain,
Mhm.
and I couldn't almost eat anything, and I continued on like this for a long time. That I took more and more things out of my diet, but I really then demonized really the carbs. Like I cannot eat a grain of rice. I cannot have an avocado. I cannot do that because these are all injuring my gut. But I think in this over this time, of course, doing an elimination diet like that uh,
Yeah.
gives your gut the time to heal up, and which you can then afterwards tolerate these, or you can digest these foods better again.
Yeah. 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 For example, I kind of the way I usually injure my gut is by eating too much. Like I don't know, I just can't stop. Just like, oh, that looks so good, I got to keep eating it, and then my gut's not done, and I eat something else, and my gut's like, whoa, come on, man, I can't keep up. And it's so when your gut is injured, like say you cheat on the carnivore diet, and your gut has adapted to digesting meat. It's designed to digest all sorts of foods, and we have a relatively simple digestive system. It is a little bit more complicated than a carnivore's digestive system. We have like a carnivore digestive system matches the cat and the dog, but we have a little bit bigger colon, which means we're able to handle like a variety of plant foods. and but we need to process those plant foods. They either need to be cooked or fermented, and it's all about doing as much digestion as possible outside of the body. To it's
Mhm.
just like if you break your leg, you don't run a marathon, you put it in a cast and you don't use it. And so we kind of have to use that idea with our gut. you know um, for example, you could eat white bread or you could eat sourdough bread. And the longer you sourdough it, the easier it is to digest. But also be aware that that sourdough bread could feed an infection in your gut. And when you're aware of the digestibility challenges between different food groups, and a food's ability to feed infection, it makes those elimination diets much easier. Because I mean, I remember those elimination diets would just steal all of my willpower. Like, it was so tough just eating like two foods for like a week and then adding one food at a time. That would drive me absolutely
Yeah,
bonkers. um, but
I
yeah, it's
understand that.
yeah. So on our channel, we focus on how to kill that infection, how to make foods easier to digest, and it's all based off of ancestral principles. What our ancestors did. What animals in Mother Nature's do. Why is a cow's digestive system designed one way, and a monkey's digestive system is designed a different way, and ours is designed a different way. There's these patterns mean something. And if you want
Mhm.
to get your gut health back, we really need to understand what we're doing to injure the gut and how to take care of it. Because the word cure, to cure something, its Latin root means to take care of. So we have to learn how to take care of the gut if you want to learn how to cure it. And the word heal
Yeah.
means to make whole. So if we want to heal our guts, we got to understand, yeah, it's our gut. I mean, people just assume that you can shove anything down your mouth and you're gonna digest it. We're omnivores. We can eat everything. We're not very good omnivores. I mean, we use our brains to digest our food, not our guts. If you look at a rat's digestive system, they have more digestive machinery to deal with different foods. We don't have that. And our ancestors, they were very hands-on. They would butcher cows and butcher pigs, and stuff their digestive system with their organs. That's how you make sausage. If you did that once a week for your whole life, I think you would get a very intimate understanding of how digestion works in Mother Nature. And you're also hunting these animals, and to hunt these animals, you have to stalk them and know their eating patterns. What they eat during this time of the year, and you are very connected with how digestive systems work in Mother Nature. And so just subconsciously knowing that stuff allows people to make like better decisions, like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. I could probably,
Yeah.
my gut can tolerate that right now. But
Yeah.
it's
So it sounds like definitely one thing is to be careful on overeating those things,
yeah, for me,
because
that's
that
that's
can
something
give
I can be,
trouble.
yeah, I get in trouble with. But yeah, how
Okay. So when like if somebody is eating a completely carnivore diet and is feeling really fine and wants to add things back in, it could go well probably in small amounts to see like
yeah,
how if they tolerate it or not.
yeah.
But if you like kind of like I did, I would eat the whole slice of pie or the three pancakes. Like I put it back in
Yeah,
like that after having that also that issue with my gut.
yeah,
It looked like it did a lot more harm in that way
yeah.
instead. So how would you would recommend to put these things back in smaller amounts if you uh, are on a carnivore diet and you want to add things back in?
Yeah. People on a carnivore diet, and looking to transition into that ancestral diet, like that Weston A. Price ancestral diet. Yeah, it's really funny. When I first did that, I tolerated junk food pretty well, and then when I went on these clean diets, it's like every time one little thing just would send me off. And so it's, yeah, definitely like being careful and doing things in small amounts. But when you're on the carnivore diet, what you're trying to do is you're trying to nourish your body as much as possible. And, not just eating muscle meats, but eating like liver and stuff like that, which you're like awesome at. You're much better than I am at that. So kudos. And so it's about nourishing your body as much as possible, letting your body become more resilient, and then slowly killing that infection and bringing in the probiotics, whether it's with fermented meats. Some fermented meats are better probiotics than yogurt, like certain chorizos and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and salamis. These traditionally fermented meats. You can try fermented veggies. You can do kombucha. You can do yogurt and sour cream. You can do cheeses. You can take probiotic. There's all sorts of ways to start shifting your gut microbiome and killing the bad guys.
Yeah.
And I could talk about that all day, but we go over that in more detail on how to kill infection. You have to. I pretty much quote The Art of War, like Sun Tzu. I don't know how to say his name, but that old Chinese book. I quote. You have to know your enemy. You have to know how the good guys behave in your gut. So it's slowly transitioning your gut microbiome, getting that back under control, and then once that happens, you start to get better, because these bad bacteria and fungi, they eat both junk food and good food. A lot of people assume you could just eat good food and that will feed the good guys and not the bad. They eat the same things. It's about shifting the environment in your gut so that only good guys can grow and the bad guys can't. And
Mhm.
it happens. It depends on how injured your gut is and how infected your gut is, on how fast that transition happens. But it's all about getting evicting the bad guys, bringing in the good guys, and then testing out, you know, deactivating those anti-nutrients in bread, and
And yeah,
working in dairy slowly. And
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, remember you also talked. I want to mention your video course because that helped me a lot in
Oh.
times that I was really struggling. Yeah, I remember there was like 3 days that I didn't want to eat anything. I didn't have any appetite, and everything would just hurt. And I was so kind of lost and stressed that I wanted to go to the doctor, but I knew they won't really help me and stuff. So I went through your video course again, and there was also another girl that I know that she also watches your video course. And then she mentioned yogurt. Just like I was kind of also afraid of the dairy around that time, but she
Yeah,
said
yeah.
like the 24-hour yogurt, or I have also this raw yogurt that I could buy, which is really great. And then after I had a cup of oregano tea, which I made along that time too. It
Okay.
gave me back my yogurt, and
Mhm.
after 3 spoons, I felt so good. Like
Oh
there was
wow.
something like happening in my brain and in my stomach, and my appetite came back after that. So I remember when you mentioned that in your video, it was so valuable to me because I right away saw the results of that, of going through these steps that you're mentioning in your video course. And I will link that down below, by the way, if you guys are interested, because I have found it so valuable. And also the friend of mine who is watching that YouTube of the video course also mentioned it a couple of times to me, that it's really nice because we both we don't feel like wanting to eat raw meat for the rest of our lives. We also want to like eat some other things because it's just, yeah, it's nice, and there are so many tasty things. And yeah, I think with your knowledge or what I've learned from you, I learned that it is possible. You don't have to eat raw meat for the rest of your lives to not suffer from these issues. There are ways to be healthful and also incorporate carbohydrates or plant foods if you want them. But you need to know, like you said, how to deactivate those anti-nutrients and how to incorporate them, how to cook with them to not suffer from them, and also not overeat on them. So that was really valuable. Yeah, kind of saved my yeah, my gut in that moment. It gave me back my appetite. So I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning it. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's I did a lot of these protocols. I've tried every protocol out there, and it wasn't until I actually understood what was going on, because I'm like a war history buff, so forgive me, but there's some general in World War I that says, um, your plans will never survive first contact with the enemy. So you can make all these protocols and stuff, but when shit hits the fan, I mean, you have to understand the basics if you want to get anywhere. You have to understand the fundamentals, and my course, that's what I do. Pretty much try to like plug my brain into yours and upload the information to you, like to the best of my ability. And yeah, it's just and carnivore people are very anti grains, but I mean, we all, paleo sites all around the world, we find tools for making grains. Like you have to grind the grains on these stones by hand. We find them all over the world, like 60,000 years old. We have been consuming grains since the dawn of time, since humans have been around. It's in the Bible. If you're into that, it's just, you have to understand how to prepare those foods correctly, and nobody knows how to do it. And even I love the Weston A. Price Foundation, but they still have a lot to learn on how to prepare these grains correctly, especially if you have an injured gut, because your gut is just super sensitive. And I was a lot happier being on animal foods, initially, but I'm so much happier having carbs in my diet. Like, I just, you're just mood instant, like
Mhm.
butter, slather raw butter on a sourdough bun. I mean, have that every morning. Like, how can you not be happy? Like, it's, there's a reason why bread, you walk by a bakery and you're just like, oh, I gotta eat that. So, well, yeah.
Yeah, the smell of that, indeed. I want to thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and the things that you know about this, because I think many people, because the carnivore diet kind of got popular, and I think people are also trying to find their way on how to heal things and learning more about infections. And I definitely understand people that they don't want to. Um, I say be so strict on themselves if they're really craving something or really wanting to eat something that is out of that realm and they're with family and
Hmm.
yeah. So I think this could be very, very valuable for these people. And yeah, if you want to go and check Mike the Heal Your Gut Guy's channel, I will leave the link in the description box down below, together with all the videos like I mentioned in the beginning. And you can learn a lot more about this on his channel. And yeah, on my channel, you can still continue watch my journey. And I'm right now in the Dominican Republic, so I'm gonna also show the foods that I'm eating here locally, not so carnivore. And yeah, I'm doing well. And one thing I actually
Awesome.
want to mention um, before I end this video, because I've learned that recently. Right now, I know there's a couple of components that give you overall happiness or overall health. And I knew always that food is a really important one, and your mind, like the state of your mind. But in these last 2 months, I was only focusing on food. And I thought food was the only thing that would heal me, because I was suffering from extreme acne again. And I thought there must be something wrong with my food. But since I came over here to the Dominican Republic, I noticed my symptoms, especially my acne, diminishing instantly the 2 days that I'm here, because I think I've surrounded myself with family. I have lower stress levels, and I'm just not so obsessed. Not that I was really obsessed, but I was eating so clean and so perfect, but didn't see any results. But now I came here and I'm eating avocado. I'm eating some. I had some rice even with beans, and no issues, no pain, no struggle at all, and my acne is even clearing up. So food is important, but also your relationships and the stress levels that you're having have also so much to do with inflammation and the way you feel inside. And that's one big thing I want to mention, and I will talk more about on my channel as well. So yeah, that was it for this video then today. And I want to thank you very much, Mike, for being here to make a video again. I hope we make some other videos soon too.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks very much for watching. And
Thanks,
I'll
Crystal.
see you next
Bye,
time.
everybody.